Good morning, everyone. So, I stand here to represent our group. The problem that we are assigned to do the task is problem number 1. The problem is like, I'll just read out as it is. Meghalaya's poverty head count ratio is 27.79%, whereas India head count ratio is 14.94%. In 2015-16, head count ratio of Meghalaya was 32.54%. As per global target 1.2 says that the ratio should be half by 2030. That is, the head count ratio should come down from 32.54% to 16.27%. So we have done this assignment, formulating the action plan as well as the based on the SWOT analysis. We have worked out in such a way that we can bring down the headcount ratio in our state. First of all, the strength that we have in our state is the natural resources, the tourism, and organic farming. The weaknesses that we have are lack of infrastructures, lack of skill development, and lack of technology. The opportunities are creation of revenue, generate employment, leads to economic growth. And the threat that we expected as per the strength that we have is the environmental hazard, global competition, as well as low crop productivity. So based on the SWOT analysis that we have prepared, we have formulated the action plan so that we'll be able to achieve the goal that is to bring down the headcount ratio to 16.27% by 2030. The action plan is that using the strength that we have, we may establish the industries for processing of the available natural resources within the state. As we all know that our state is very rich in natural resources like coal and limestone, and as we are all aware that as soon as the coal has been banned, mining of coal has been banned, our state income revenue generated has come down drastically. So maybe because of that, we could not achieve the target as set by the global target. So establishment of industries within the state itself, and mining and other like utilization of all these natural resources in a scientific way, we may achieve the goal. And secondly, as the tourism is concerned, we have lots of unexplored tourist spot. So in this regard, we have formulated this action plan to promote all the festivals, tribal sports, local handicraft, as well as to familiarization of those tour operators from outside the state, and to preservation of historical monuments and friendly reception to the tourists. As we all know that we can take the example of Sikkim and other states who have lead in the front line as compared to our state. So it is also our opportunity to explore with regards to tourism, so that the cash flow will come from other part of the state as well as other part of the country, so that we will be able to lift up income of the people of the state, and we'll be able to achieve the target by 2030. The next is to promote the principle of health and ecology. And the third is to enhance the budget. The fourth is to enhance the budget finance planning to improve infrastructure. As we all know that we are very, very poor, and most of the individuals, they don't have their own capital to establish any kind of like entrepreneur or any other any other source of income. So we need the hand-holding of the government to support us, to support the unemployed youth with the by giving some by giving some fund, so we'll be able to stand. And then the third is to conduct vocational trainings. As we all know that the literacy rate also is not that high in our state, so we need to train to develop the skill, to the youth, unemployed youth, so that the youth will be able to go about their business, so that their income will be increased and will be able to achieve the goal. And with regards to tax, yes, from taxes we expected to get from the tourism sector, so that from natural resources and industries, yes. And then second last is the afforestation and public awareness and environmental hazard. As we all know that everything like anything like we are doing with we are tapping the natural resources, we may encounter the environmental hazard. So to address that, we may encourage the afforestation and also to create the public awareness. And then the last but not the least, the proper market linkages to market the organic products. As we all know that organic farming, it will cause low crop productivity. However, the present status of our state is that like most of the area are under organic itself. However, we are lacking in certification. Once we did the certification, we can improve the proper market linkages. As I think some of you may have seen in the newspaper, like pineapple, they have gone abroad. They have marketed abroad, yes, ginger, lakadong, turmeric, yes. So all these may contribute a lot to bring up and to uplift the economic status of the people of a state, so that we'll never remain poor as we are, and we may achieve the target as set as globally. By 2030, we will be able to halve the headcount ratio and will reach the percentage to 16.27%. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone have any question and any feedback or any comment on this presentation? Or if you want any clarity from the anyone? There is no question. Everyone's clear. Thank you. So next one is group 2. Group 2? Are you there? And please make sure that everyone gets a part in the presentation. Not one person is only presenting the whole presentation. Okay? Every group has to ask one question. Group has to ask one question.
We'll do the strength. You do the strength. We'll do the threads then. Threads you cannot do.
Okay, so every group has to ask one question. Okay, so focus on this presentation. Any question, feedback, or comment? Anything?
Is it on?
You can do this.
Yeah, I'll start.
With the
Then you do
strength.
the.
Strength.
You will do the.
I'll do the opportunities.
Who will do the weakness? You will do the weakness. Do the weakness. I'm blind.
Good morning, all of you. The problem. It's okay. Our problem is the plan of action for increasing school attendance. In 2019-20, Meghalaya recorded a 14.7% decline in school attendance from 93.9% at age 6 to 14 years to 79.2% at 15 to 17 years. So we have done the SWOT analysis. So these are our strengths. So let me read out one by one. The strength, we have well-qualified teachers. Most of the teachers are trained. And then we also have in the districts, we have the teacher training institutes in 7 districts, which are called the diets. And then we also have affordable government schools. And then our culture also is not a barrier. It's not an obstacle. And then we also provide scholarships to students. But our weaknesses, let me read out the weaknesses which we have. Infrastructure. Our school buildings are not in a very good condition, mostly government schools. So we have lack of connectivity, transportation. So maybe that is the main reason that students drop out at this particular age. And then lack of good roads. Schools are far away, quite a distance from the village to the school. And then there is also financial burden, where people from low socio-economic society, they'll have to help. Yes. Yeah, they have to help do the labor work to support themselves. And then another weakness is the irregular flow of salary for the teachers. And then the last one which we have listed in the weakness is lack of vocational education. So you read out that opportunity.
So we have identified a few opportunities that we can develop for the school attendance. What we are thinking is that we can make for skill orientation or skill development vocational training programs that will increase the chances of job prospects for the students, so that we can have open trade schools. We can implement some of the NEP 2020 guidelines in the schools if possible, so that they are instead of just focusing on the subjects, we also have some certain vocational schools or certain skill oriented programs that will help them earn money if financial burden is a problem. Next, we are thinking of midday meal, because one of the things that we found out that we can, if we extend it to people from 15 to 17 years, we also have students which are lesser burdened, like this financial burden of food and everything becomes lesser in midday meal. Also, it's an incentive to come to school. Another thing that we are thinking of is a digital platform of creating knowledge repositories or and formulating plans to increase internet accessibility or internet connectivity to remote areas, so that there is a form of Vidya. You talked about Vidya.
Like for example, the Ministry of Human Resource Development has this platform called Vidya Mitra, which has learning departments from all the even college courses, even at master's level, where they have like online classes and everything. So if the same is done to the local government in local language, it would help the students understand concepts better. So one thing is students do not want to go is even they don't understand it. When they don't understand it, they don't have interest in education. So if there is in a local language, they actually understand it, that would improve the interest in education and incentivize them to actually go to schools.
The fourth thing that we listed is free coaching and tutoring. If we have either peer mentoring, or if we have one-on-one teaching, or if the teachers takes a few extra classes, and there's many people, as my colleague pointed out, that many people do not come to school because for most of them learning is a challenge. But if that challenge is removed, and there are sessions for them to guide through maybe competitive exams, for them to guide through passing the exams, entrance exams, or anything, so that would also be an incentive to come to school. And the another opportunity that we have thought about is mobile libraries, community libraries. So one village or one community can form a library in a van, or any moving library that library connection can be garnered through private donations, or even through government funding or anything. So we have thought of community library that can help the people, whoever wants to borrow books from that community library can borrow, and that will even help them with books and everything. So there are threats.
About the threats, we have some threats that we have listed out. We have political instability, which is actually quite a problem sometimes. We think that if there is an involvement of the law department, as well as awareness against joining some unstable organizations, we can also sensitize especially young people against violence. The other threat is weather. Sometimes we have extreme weather in this area, and sometimes it's a problem. We have landslides, we have heavy rainfall. So if we can have maybe common transport for students, if we can also have proper infrastructure which is climate resilient, and we can also have some disaster management or contingency plans for disaster. The other threat is corruption. This is, of course, something which we talk about, but sometimes it's not tackled in a proper way. So if we can have transparency, if we can have accountability, I think that will be a very good thing for our students. And the other threat, the next threat is the social threats. This is again a problem which we encounter time and again. In school-going children, especially the teenage children, we have problems like drug addiction, we have problems like internet addiction, we have problems like teenage pregnancies. If we can have awareness of these things, some programs or some initiatives by NGOs or government organizations to sensitize students for these kinds of problems, perhaps we'll have we can eliminate these threats. And the last one is mental health. This is also something that we encounter time and again in students nowadays. And if we can have counseling, if we can have awareness programs, and if we destigmatize perhaps mental depression and things like that in students, perhaps this is also a threat which we can eliminate entirely. So the plan, can you do?
We would say this is a long-term plan because we cannot increase the number of increase in the education percentage, attendance percentage, like in a short term. So we would suggest it's a long-term plan, and it just involves not just participation of the Department of Education, but collaboration from different departments like Human Resource Development, Information and Technology Department, Public Welfare Department, and Transportation Department, because the challenges in increasing the attendance of education is not just that can be tackled by education department alone. It needs support from the other department as well. So I would say it's a collaborative plan rather than one department. And of course, we need the help of the civil society and the local people as well.
Also, this long-term action plan also primarily involves the community, especially community resources and community participation, especially with mobile learning, peer-to-peer mentoring, so even social threat awareness and everything. So that as a community, it's a build-up that the community can push the kids towards education and further better future and prospects. Any questions?
Any questions?
No questions, but I can add to one point.
Yes.
Like you said that you have strength of like well qualified teachers,
Yes.
but the area where I come from, no teachers in the schools. They don't stay in the area.
Infrastructure weakness is also
Yes, so we have identified this irregular salary.
What I'm saying is like there is lack of motivation among the teachers also. I am a teacher which is recruited by the education department. I'm placing someone who is just class 9 pass in the village. He is doing the teaching in the schools. So that kind of scenario is happening in our state. Okay. So that thing, I think that has to be dealt. Before we know like what we have become is solely because of our teachers. They had contributed a lot to our life. Like I stayed in a residential school. I know the teachers' contribution in my life. But then right now, if you go to villages, you don't see people, you don't see teachers who stay in the station. Before, teachers used to motivate the students or the villagers to do the village social works, okay? They will be involved in the meeting. They will be involved in the planning process. But nowadays, teachers are like just going and coming back, or they, as I said, hiring somebody else, keeping there, and they are the ones who's running the school. So that is the sorry state of affairs. So if that point can be included here, I think
included actually one of the points is of the threats is corruption, and I think that is on the part of the teacher, that is corruption, because the teachers themselves are qualified, because the government do not appoint teachers which are less than DLEd or BEd now. So on the part of the teachers, that is corruption, of course, and we have included that, and irregular salary.
I think from the what you call higher ups also there has to be some punishment and monitoring. Those things has to be done.
So we can strategize with accountability and transparency. Like
And
there
so-
can be monitoring in the village level itself to see like sudden visits or sudden monitoring to see whether there is working out or not. Yeah, we'll include that.
And that is the reason we also emphasize on the digital platform, because we know not all of the places have good quality teachers. That's why we want to make sure there's digital repository which is accessible to everyone, so that even in areas where we cannot ensure personally the teachers are good.
One more point I will add here, since you are talking about digital platforms.
Yeah.
My kids have become naughtiest after Corona because I provided one mobile each. They are not studying in
So
mobile.
that comes under the
Okay.
awareness.
Social threats, awareness.
They are like drawn to something else.
So that comes under the social
Yeah.
threats,
So
awareness.
I am very apprehensive about that. Whatever you are saying, it has to be monitored again.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so it cannot be like every kid is having a mobile and then they are
So there are like
accessing.
child
yeah.
locks and systems and everything and devices. You just have to make sure.
I think it's more about the digitization of the classrooms instead of.
So when you think about the digitization or whatever electronic platform you're talking about, it has to come with those points there.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Certainly,
Yes.
of course.
We
We'll
have to
include that.
also make
and
it.
I think that might be the reason why there is dropout rate or 14 point something you said no.
Like I remember, sir, when I was in 11th, 12th, I had this tab which can only be used for education purposes. We couldn't use any other apps, social media, anything. So maybe we have to make it like learning devices that way.
Specific.
Like because I couldn't use anything on my tab except the learning, and so we'll have to make those systems to ensure that.
Byju's has so we can. include
Byju's
private
are
sector.
very expensive.
No, Byju's are expensive.
I cannot afford that. I'm telling you very frankly.
No, this is gonna be like a government program, right? So we're expecting it to be subsidized.
Very
I'm just saying
expensive.
that the same thing Byju's does. On their tablets that they provide, you cannot use it for anything else.
Other than
So we can
education.
use that kind of software to put it in tablets, and the children cannot use it for anything else.
So other than that, your presentation is very good.
Thank
It's
you.
comprehensive. But then like some points like which I
Yes,
mentioned,
Yes,
you
we
can
can
Whatever
include it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other question or comment or feedback on anything?
Government school also like free school books and bags, uniforms also. It's not like easily accessible.
Yes.
Even this is midday meal also supposed to get regularly.
Yes.
We have, there's a lot of
Corruption. That's all comes under the corruption.
Okay, so I have one question.
Okay.
So you have put in the strength about the teacher training institutes, okay, and the quality of teachers. But I read an article some days back about this Meghalaya that the CM wrote a letter that there are only few teacher training schools, and that is creating issues with hiring and recruiting the quality teachers in the schools, and there are lesser number of teachers than the required in the schools in the Meghalaya.
I think that is being addressed now because we're going to have.
So you put in the strength, that's why I want to understand how
Yeah,
is it
one of the in our college, we're going to start a 4-year undergraduate program in which BEd will be included. So I think that will help with the lack of teacher training.
It will be the strength in
No,
future.
it will be starting now.
Okay, thank you. And group 3.
We are presenting a SWOT analysis on problem number 4, which is rate of crimes against women per 1 lakh female population is 34.6 in Meghalaya, and the global target is 0. It is to be noted that in 2021, the national figure for crime against women per 1 lakh female population was 64.5. We did not get the 2023 data for this. So accordingly, we have presented a SWOT analysis for this, and this issue, it pertains to the goal number 5, which is gender equality, and it addresses target 1 and 5.1 and 5.2, which is to end all forms of discrimination against women and to eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls in the public and private space and so forth. And so under strengths, we have mentioned maternal society, because Meghalaya being a maternal society, I think this is a very important point, because inherently we give emphasis and prominence to women in our society. And I think this is a very, very good, strong point to be mentioned. And because of this, we have a high number of highly educated women, and which translates to huge number of working women. And we also have women who are, because they are prominent, they have a dominant role in society, and they are given priority, and women hence can give priority to addressing this sensitive issue. Under weaknesses, we have mentioned less women in the police force and a lack of a grievance cell. This can be maybe in the workplace or maybe in your society or in your development committee or Rangbashnong and all. And less number of women leaders to raise this issue, and lack of, I think, moral education in the higher education. Under opportunities, we have listed social awareness and family grooming. I think so. I think it would be best to appoint.
Obviously, we need to have a women empowerment. So women need to be empowered and to get more respect. And we have social awareness. We need a wide publication on this case, because this is a very serious issue. It affects the society, and obviously it has to come from the family also. It has to start at the family level also, since you need to groom like the boys, the girls among the family members. And obviously women reservation in the politics or parliament and also as in assembly. And actually the the victims, they should not be feared. They should come out. Like, there should no fear to complain on such matters, on such cases. And these local heads also, they should be actively vigilant on such cases. And threats, these are the like what affects the society. The drawbacks, like the drug menace is rampant these days in Meghalaya. The domestic abuse also, it happens. It's very prevalent. And obviously physical and sexual violence, stalking, eve-teasing, all these are women harassment, and even just sex trade also, and even harassment in, we can there's some cases that is harassment in workplaces. So these are the SWOTs of this problem. We have an action plan also. Since women have prominent role in society, obviously can have the influence to persuade the government, the authority level, like to give more importance to this serious cases and introduce a women quota in police force. We didn't have a quota for women in police force, and more women lawmakers, more importance, attention can be given, and women police station cell, and even women committee also. Obviously, we have this women's commission, but that I think it's not that so much effective. Women's grievance redressal cell. And before we used to have this introduction to of pink taxi. I think we need a reintroduction again for women who are traveling, like especially at night time. And swift action should be taken on such cases with stringent laws. And awareness, as I said, awareness be widely publicized. And drugs trade should be highly checked in our state. As you can see now, it's very easily available. The drugs is very easily available in Shillong, especially. So, yes. And sexual offenders to be given harsh punishment. And the sex trade to be banned, I think. It needs to be totally banned, the sex trade. We should not give any compromise, like because of poverty or such things like that. There should be no compromise. Should be totally banned. So these are our action plan.
Any question or feedback on this, or any clarity to what?
I just have one. That turn around the page, please. The last point which you said, like sex trade to be abolished. In fact, like if you see, this is like kind of like one of the issue which is raised in national and international level also. And we know like actually sex trade is supposed to be one of the first vocation in the world, entire world. So people are actually demanding like they should be what you call legalized, recognized. Okay. So I think when we say this, it is wrong. And then this is about a social debate. We need to bring it to like masses and then have a discussion on it. Other things are fine, but then I am like a little bit apprehensive about it. Like we cannot just blatantly say that because there are millions of people who are involved in it, like especially, yes. So we have to see that also. I'm talking from the different perspective. Okay. So we have.
If I were to respond to this, I think right now at the moment this particular issue is an informal sector. Maybe if it's formalized, like you suggested, maybe then we can bring in more regulation.
Yes.
And therein there'll be more monitoring of any violence in this particular sector.
So rather than abolishing it, as you mentioned, like formalizing it might do the trick. We don't know, but then it is a topic for social debate and then at national, international level.
No, but if it's legalized, like you said, like Thailand, they're having a lot of issues because it's legalized. So then there are many
that's why
issues.
I said it is.
So whatever you gain from that sector, the government will be losing more money because trying to cure the diseases that come with this trade.
So we have to have
it's
debate on that. Blatantly say that it has to be abolished.
Any more questions?
Any point if you want to add or ask?
Can I just ask, like, how this drug trading directly affects women crime?
I think it's more to do with how drug addicts, they are very unpredictable in nature, by nature. And so you cannot just say that only drug addicts will just do robbery or stick to robbery or theft. You cannot rule out the possibility of violence against women. I think this is a factor that may or may not indirectly affect this issue.
If I might clarify that point, so we have a lot of female injecting drug users in Meghalaya. We do not, and unfortunately in this state, we do not have even one rehabilitation or a short stay home for female injecting drug users. And that compromises what the SDGs talk about violence against women. When we're talking about gender-based discrimination, so many people tend to think that violence against women is, okay, there has to be physical hitting or, things like that. But there's emotional, there's financial, there are many rights and entitlements that women do not receive. So I think that point, we're talking that there are more redressal mechanisms, rehabilitation centers for female injecting drug users.
Thank you for the group.
I stand here to represent the group number 3 with a problem which is percentage of area covered under afforestation scheduled to operation scheme to the total geographical area of 0.12% in Meghalaya, and India's target is 5.46%. So we have done a SWOT analysis on this problem, and we have find out the strength of it. Our strength is, number 1 is availability of land. So we have large barren areas which we can perform the process of afforestation. And then number 2, climatic conditions. The climatic conditions of the area is quite good, and it supports the growth of many different types of species. And then number 3, availability of saplings of trees from the forest department. And then number 4, according to the record, we have enough, we have around about 76% of forest cover. So it'll be quite easy for us to gain the target of 5.46%. And then our weakness, lack of fund from our side. And then number 2 is cutting of trees for mining purpose like sandstones or coal and so on. These are the weaknesses. And then opportunity, we have the opportunity to conserve the environment. As we all know that due to deforestation, we have problems with climate change, and then it will be an opportunity for us to protect the environment in terms of soil erosion or in terms of good air qualities. And then number 2, to encourage the community to preserve the forest land. And then we can also add, it may also create employment to the youth, like they can cut the trees for their products, and then of course they have to be replenished. And then we have threats like industrialization, and then illegal cutting of trees, and then forest fire, and burning of charcoal, burning of trees for charcoal purpose. And then we have the action plans. We have the action plans. Number 1 is to create awareness among the public to preserve the forest. Then number 2, incentives among the communities for tree plantation. That is a short-term course. And then we have number 3, to strengthen the forest laws or acts. Then number 4 is to increase more financial support under afforestation. schemes, both states and central government. And number 6 is to enhance coverage cooking gas, especially in rural household. That's all.
Thank you. Any point? This is very important topic related to the state. So if you all can add 1 or 2 points for temperature, because you are feeling clarity on this.
I would like to add some point. You asked? Okay. So since you are saying that coverage 5.46, no? So I just want to bring into the notice of everyone, like we say that there is barren land, and we want to cover it with plants. Okay. But then the thing is, you have to see ecologically whether the land was like that from before, whether it was a bog, whether it was a wetland, whether it was a desert. If it was, it has special role to play in that.
Okay.
It shouldn't have been planted, that means. If it was from before like that, it should be left like that. We are encroaching everywhere. We are thinking like we will do it because we want to cover. So that would be wrong on the part of us, because we would be interfering with the natural ecological processes. Whatever the life cycle is going on, we would be hindering that. First thing is that. And then you also talk about like strengthening of the forest laws. In Meghalaya, it is like very difficult because of multiple forest departments, Council, Khasi Hills, Council Forest Department, Gentle Hills, Forest Council Forest Department, and likewise Gulf Hills, Autonomous Forest Department and State Forest Department. As such, with Forest Department, State Forest Department, we have like very less land holdings and reserve forests under us, but then maximum are with the private parties. So, and predominantly we are like agrarian society, we do agriculture practices, we do plantation, and for that purpose people are cutting down the trees. Now we cannot say also like why you are cutting down the trees. It is the land of the people. It is their land. They have the every right to cultivate or every right to burn their forest to do the jumming. So going back to it, if we really want to do something in that line, then we need to incentivize the whole process, which government of Meghalaya has recently started, called payment for ecosystem services. So if we are keeping the forest per hectare of land, some amount is given to those people who are actually keeping those forest land intact. So maybe we cannot go directly like plantation or like in the barren land, or maybe like we cannot ask the people to not cut the forest, but then we have to go around and see the opportunities.
No, just one thing, like Madam has already in the first point of strength availability of land, like we have a lot of barren land.
Yes.
But the situation with our department is that we are from the forest department. What we say is that though we have so much of land, but as the case, like Sir has mentioned, that in our state this is a private land. So the people have that fear. One of the weakness, it's that they have that fear that if we give the land for plantation, we are going to lose the land. The government will take away the land. So one of the action plan you have mentioned, creating awareness. So it should be stressed that awareness should be created in such a way, like the people, even if they give the land for the plantation, they are not going to lose it. The ownership is vested on them.
Okay.
So that is one
Thank
point.
you. Thank you.
Any other point? Okay, thank you. So last two is number 5.
Okay, we are here presenting this SWOT analysis on this topic, which says that it is almost 50% of pregnant women aged 15 to 49 years are poor endemic. The global target 2.2 says that by 2030 it should reduce by half. Okay, what we are doing here, we are presenting the strength. Like the first one is.
Can you please repeat what is the topic?
The topic. Okay, once more. The topic is almost 50% of pregnant women aged 15 to 49 years who are anemic. Anemic. And the global target 2.2 says that by 2030 should be reduced by half. Okay. Okay, in Meghalaya, the first point which is regarded as our strength is that in our society we have this one support for women. We know that we are in a material society, and we have this right from our family and culture and custom. We envisage this gender equality and neutrality. And if we see for the last time for this SDG 2023, if you look at the statistical report also, we see that in Meghalaya percentage we have seen that the gender equality in the Northeast it is highest in our state. Okay, and point number two is health infrastructure. Okay, this is also one of the area of our strength, because if we look at the present scenario in our state, that we have NAGRIMS, and also we have Shillong Medical College also that will be come up in the years to come. And also in the Bernihad also there will be one more hospital and medical colleges which is in USTM, which will be known as the PAS International Medical Hospital. And also we have we have Tura Medical College also, which is Central University. And then we have young population. I think in Meghalaya we have the largest percentage of our population are in the age group of 1 to 30, which is the highest percentage of our population. I think we can use this young population we can create awareness to them so that they can be an asset to our society. And then number 4 is organic food, and number 5 is we have this government initiative and schemes which are HIS, PMJAY, and also we already have this. We have some central scheme also which we can use as per our strength in our part to achieve this target.
So in terms of weaknesses, we have listed out 4 points, that is ignorance in terms of nutrition. As we know that in our state, we have a diverse amount of different forms of food groups that are available in our state. So which gives the opportunity for pregnant women between the ages of 15 to 49 to avail to these food groups for their health benefits. And point number 2 is teenage pregnancy. For point number 1, ignorance is that even though there's availability of these food groups, some of them are quite ignorant of the fact that they can avail to such food groups in order to benefit their health. Point number 2 is teenage pregnancy, which we know is that mostly in the rural areas is on the rise. Yes, there's a rise here in the urban areas also, but the percentage of teenage pregnancy is much higher in the rural areas. Number 3 is poverty, especially in remote places. These teenage mothers or young pregnant women mothers are more prone to anemia because they have less financial benefits so as to avail to such food groups and iron-rich foods. And for point number 4, it's accessibility in remote areas. Maybe due to lack of proper commutation, I think there is lack of accessibility for them to attain these iron-rich foods.
In opportunities, we have point number 1 is awareness and education, and number 2 we have job opportunities so that we can get more nurses, doctors, etc. And number 3 we have village health self-consult.
Okay, now the threats. Point number 1, we have ignorance to cultural beliefs. Even if we are in a material society, some, especially in the villages, we see that some teenage pregnant women and even those who are not teenagers anymore, they still are stuck in their in their cultural beliefs that medicines and healthcare facilities are a taboo to them. They are stuck in their traditional beliefs, so that's why they do not avail to the medicines and healthcare that is being given by the government. Then point number 2 is misinformation through media and internet. Here it's not misinformation, but it's lack of information. Even though we access our mobile phones, apps, and all those sites which are beneficial for us, but then like we do not do that. Most teenagers, especially during these times, we see that they avail apps which are inappropriate. So this may lead to teenage pregnancy, and teenage pregnancy often leads to anemia. That even for pregnant women who are over the age of 20 or 25 years, or maybe some other years also, they do not avail to these apps which have nutritional and beneficial benefits for them. Okay, and then number 3, consumption of inorganic processed foods. This is basically junk food. If we do not consume organic food, if we consume only junk food, this have a negative impact on our bodies. Then number 4 also, it's lifestyle. If we do not exercise, if we do not have a healthy lifestyle, this often leads to anemia.
We have listed out few state action plan for development of health institutions, especially in rural areas. And theoretically and practically, the Government of Health and Family Welfare Department is initiating a very good steps in establishing, creating, and upgradation of various health institutions. And we have, in point number 1, we have development of village health councils to keep track of pregnant women and their nutritional status in collaboration with ASHA workers, disease, block levels, etc. And in number 2, counseling awareness programs in rural, urban areas, schools, etc. And in point number 3, usage of IT apps, that is mother app, we have for pregnant women. And in last point, we have increased numbers of sub-centers, PHCs, and qualified medical staff such as doctors, nurses. And the Government of Health and Family Welfare Department is doing a very good work in upgradation of sub-centers to PHCs and PHCs to CHCs. So these are the action taken plan by we have prepared. All this much for today.